Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities such as new companies and potential business partners and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women in Motorsport's Joe Samaniego here, along with Daniele from Racers, the girls behind the helmet. A big thank you to our Patreon subscribers, Con the Show, Mark and Robin, for keeping us on the air. You can invest in the Grid Network, linked in the video description for a Patreon or a one-time contribution through Buy Me a Coffee. Help us keep on the air. And Daniel, one of the things, speak about being on the air, it was a couple of days ago, I believe yesterday, Telegraph, we saw that article about the W Series being potentially in financial situations that doesn't look good. This morning, very little coverage for all fans as well as media members as well. So starting to get a lot of people concerned about the W Series. Sounds like a prominent partner failed to come through with a recent payment for sponsorships and all that information. Daniel, how concerning is the situation going on with the W Series as we're right here in Singapore for what should be a great weekend, their first race in Asia?
Yeah, hello everybody. First of all, and thank you for having me as usual on the air. It is concerning because of course it was kind of out of the blue before that article came out, because of course well, let's say that it hasn't been the most accessible series to cover. But yeah, I think this year it was very exciting, the calendar, having the also the Asian rounds and of course the Americans ones, going to Mexico for the first time. So it was a big calendar, and let me say that I would just say that this is all, of course, this is all in the field of speculation, because so far that was the only. Also, the race went out yesterday with reporting that news, but so far there is little information apart from those two reports. So we don't have first-hand information about the financial situation of W Series, but of course today's coverage has been a little bit more concerning. Speaking of the news that we saw in the couple of days before. In my personal opinion, they went too big, too quick with F1, which is, of course, not an easy environment. It is good for TV coverage because, of course, in the previous seasons, W Series was struggling with TV coverage outside of the UK, where they had free-to-air coverage, which was great, but all the rest of the world was pretty much in the dark for W Series. So they needed a bit more of growing their fan base globally before going big with Formula One, in my personal opinion. That said, hopefully they can sort out the whole situation, obviously, and get to the end of the season smoothly, because of course they have the most important flyaways with the race also in COTA and Mexico to end the season. And in this global situation where shipping is a lot more expensive than it used to be, it's not an easy situation. So hopefully they can sort out this year, and something is done for next year, for the upcoming seasons, and they can bring on board some more sponsorship funding, and we are all rooting for them. So it's important that they can continue doing what they've been doing.
And you bring up a lot of good points. Clean. A lot of this is still speculative, as it was only Telegraph that has reported this. Today's lack of coverage bringing some concern. But I was gonna say it wasn't too long ago, especially after the Miami round, a lot of interest, potential U.S. sponsorship deals. So it'll be really interesting to follow, see if some of those could work out, and then the W Series can continue on. Of course, all of us right here in the Grid Network, we're going to be following this story throughout the development of the story and the race weekend. So, of course, on the air, we'll be previewing the W Series race, hopefully after the qualifying, to get an idea of what's going to happen in the race. And then Sunday, we're going to recap the race. And, of course, any breaking news after Sunday, Grid Encore or Grid Tonight will have some updates as well. So definitely subscribe to us right here in the Grid Network as we follow this developing situation. Now, going back to some of our planned coverage of the past race weekend, we have to go with the Iron Dames Iron Lynx. Their historical season is continuing on, and another trophy to add to their collection.
Yeah, definitely. The Iron Dames have been absolutely groundbreaking this year with some really, really important results. And they were back to Spa-Francorchamps, the track that gave them the first big victory at the 24-hour Spa. You remember back in July, they won in class at the 24-hour race. And now they were back for the European Le Mans Series, the 4-hour Spa-Francorchamps. And it does look like that the Spa circuit really fits their driving, because they were again really close to a victory overall in the GTE class, with a slightly altered lineup, because we know that Dorian Pan is now doing the ELMS together with Michel Gatting and Sarah Bovey, while Rael Fry is continuing in WEC and in GT World Challenge Europe. So Dorian finally made her debut in ELMS. She was supposed to do it in Barcelona, but unfortunately the car was out of the race after a first lap incident there, so she didn't get to drive in the race. So, and she had a brilliant race. Again, Dorian Pan, 1 week after her sweeping weekend at Silverstone in the Ferrari Challenge, she was again really, really good in this time in a GTE car for Iron Dames. She set the fastest lap of the race on her first race in this championship. This is big. This is a big deal. Dorian Pan is definitely one of the biggest talents that we've ever seen in sports car racing. She's doing an incredible job. And also Sarah Bovey, again, they qualified in P2. They were again really in P3. Sorry, they were really, really good. And Sarah had a fantastic start as usual. She was quickly into second place, and then at the end of her stint, she was leading in the race. They had a very close moment, because the Kessel Racing Ferrari that was leading the race at that point spun on top of Radillon, so the most famous probably section of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. It wasn't raining, but it was tricky. It had rain in the morning and in the night, and he spun, and Sarah Bovey was right behind him, and she was like inches from collecting the Kessel Racing Ferrari. Luckily, they had no damage. They continued. They led the race throughout the race from that point on. Dorian was second in the car, and she led for all their stint. Really consistent pace, fastest lap of the race. Then Michel Gatting was in for the last part of the race. She was also really good. Unfortunately, she had a much faster driver behind her in that Ferrari, and it was interestingly an all Danish battle at that point. But they ended second. She actually was really closing in again in the last half an hour of the race. But they ended like a 10-second behind the leading GTE car, which was again another outstanding result for Iron Dames. Let's be clear, because of course they wanted the victory and they were really close again. That win is a matter of time, because we said this for the 24-hour Spa, again also in WEC and in European Le Mans Series, that victory is really only a matter of races at this point. They were second, and it was their first podium of the year in European Le Mans Series. They had some unlucky races previous to this one, and interestingly, their best results since 2019 in European Le Mans Series, because last year they had 2 podiums, but they were they were third places, 2 third places. And so it was their first second place finish since 2019. But I mean, this is just stats that are not a big importance, because the important thing is the trend, which is continuously on uphill, and they're really doing well. So I believe that their first win is coming very soon. And this weekend they have another important race, because they are in Barcelona for the final round of the GT World Challenge European Championship, the Endurance Cup, which is also part of the races they won in Spa. And they are second in the championship standings, and they have the opportunity to win the title. For the first time, they entered the season finale with championship ambitions, and they were third yesterday. So there's still big chances of seeing Iron Dames with another big success this weekend.
Big weekend for the championship weekend. Very exciting. Of course, we'll have a recap, and we encourage everyone to follow behindthehelmet.com for all the updates as the race weekend process on, and of course on Twitter, where they'll have updates. Now, one of the big things, of course, the National Hot Rod Association, they are counting down to their championship at CMAX Dragway at Charlotte, North Carolina. They hosted the Betaway NHRA Carolina Nationals, and Brittany Force entered second in the points, qualified second in top fuel class. However, second round of competition, she lost to Antron Brown, the 7th fastest in qualifying. Antron will actually go all the way to upset the 3rd fastest and the pole winner to earn another win this season. A big one, considering this is in the countdown, their version of their playoffs. This dropped Brittany Force down to 3rd in the points standings, 52 points behind Justin Ashley and 9 behind Antron Brown. Of course, Brittany had been leading the regular season just about the entire year. Last 2 weeks, first 2 rounds of the playoffs, the countdown has not gone well for her, as she lost the points lead for Top Fuel. Over in Funny Car, Alexis DeJoria, she qualified 9th, but she had a great day of competition. Round 1 defeated 6th fastest J.R. Todd. Then in the second round defeated the 3rd fastest Robert Heights, the points leader of Funny Car. Semi-final round took out Matt Hagan, the 2nd fastest from qualifying. So she got to the final round, faced off against Ron Capps, the 4th fastest. But unfortunately, the magic run and Ron Capps took the win. This, however, moves Alexis, to 6th place in the standings. She is now 129 points behind Robert Height. And then in Pro Stock, Erica Anders, last race weekend, won from pole. She got on pole again, but her winning streak came to an end. She went on the semifinal round. Matt Harford, the 4th fastest, took her out. He made it all the way to the finals, but then lost to the 6th fastest, Aaron Stanfield. So, Anders still has the points lead in Pro Stock, 64 points ahead of Aaron Stanfield. Camry Caruso also was in Pro Stock, qualified 8th, but didn't advance to the next round. So it's going to be a very interesting race weekend this weekend for the National Hot Rod Association, the Midwest Nationals at Worldwide Technology Raceway. The first day of actions today was eliminations on Sunday. Pro Stock Bike didn't race at Charlotte, North Carolina this past weekend for the NHRA, but Daniel, quite a lot of racing going on, and especially when you have, I think it's very interesting that National Hot Rod Association has this playoff format, and to see a driver that has been leading all season long. Points lead get reduced. 2 races, fastest on both days, both weekends, and just doesn't get to win and now find himself third place. I know this is what a lot of folks like about competition, making it close at the end of the season, but it just seems like a lot of. I know I'm sounding a little bit like Ben. Is this really something in motorsports? But it will be interesting to follow how it goes. One driver we've been following quite a bit, Ashton Harrison, successful weekend again, and she's really, I think, starting to get a lot of people's attention now with her performances.
Oh, definitely. Ashton Harrison, it's we'll never forget that this is her first full season in SRO in GT3, and she's right there battling for the championship title in GT World Challenge America. So this is big thing for Ashton Harrison. She's sharing the Racers Edge Motorsport number 93 Acura NSX GT3 Evo with Marion Farnbacher. So a very experienced driver. But she's doing amazing, really. She's also competing in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, where she's also consistently in podium positions. She had a very long streak of podiums in Pro-Am in Lamborghini. And she had 3 victories prior to last weekend's Sebring race in GT World Challenge. So 3 win in Pro-Am. And she will obviously enter the penultimate round of the season with big ambitions, because they were really in contention for the title. And then she did not disappoint once again, because she won race 1. Let's say it was a bit of a roller coaster of a weekend for Ashton in Sebring, a bit of a bittersweet weekend as well, because she won race 1, and then she could not even she was out of the race early in race 2, basically, because they finished the race, but they were 3 laps down. But let's go back to race 1. She was really strong in qualifying. She qualified in P4 in Pro-Am. She was behind the wheel for the first stint of the race. Straight away from the start, she was into P3 in class. And then there was a long safety car intervention, because Erin Vogels unfortunately had an accident on the first lap on the main straight. Basically, she came together with Chandler Hull, and both of the cars were out of the race before they had even crossed the line at the start. So really not a great weekend for Erin, unfortunately. Very unlucky. It has been quite an unlucky season for Erin Vogel. A lot of good potential and good speed, but they couldn't translate it into results that they deserved. Hopefully they will manage to do that at the 8 Hour of Indianapolis, which is the next and final round of the season. But back to Ashton, at the restart of the race, she completed an outstanding move at turn 1. She passed Charlie Luck for the lead in Pro-Am, and from there she was always under pressure, but never made a mistake, never put a foot wrong, and she always led the race throughout her stint before she handed over the car to Mario Farnbacher in the second half of the race. And Farnbacher also was really under pressure for the whole stint from the Mercedes of Kurtz. Was really on his tail throughout the race. So it was not, and at the end of the race also Jan Halen, another very experienced and fast driver in the Wright Motorsports Porsche, was closing in. So it was 1, 2, 3 in class, really close together at tenths of a second, literally. But he managed to hold on to the pressure and won the race 1, which was really good for the championship. And they were at that point 2 points from P1 in Pro-Am. So they entered into Sunday with high hopes to get into to the championship lead ahead of the final round in Indianapolis. But as I mentioned, they had a braking issue in the formation lap, really. So Farnbacher, who was supposed to do the start, had to pit even before the start of the race, and they lost 3 laps to fix the problem. And when they went out, the race, of course, was done and dusted. And same thing for Erin Vogel, who the damage on her Acura and on her real-time racing Acura was not looking that bad from the outside, but when the crew actually tried to fix the problem, they understood that the damage was much more than expected, and they had to fix it at the workshop, and they couldn't do on track. So unluckily, they had to miss also the second race of the weekend. 0 points for them at Sebring. But next up is going to be the 8 Hour of Indianapolis, which is run in conjunction with the Intercontinental GT Challenge, which is probably the biggest race in the calendar of SRO America. And both of the drivers this time they will race in 3 driver lineups. And also we have another important female drivers racing with Ashton Harrison, and as Christina Nielsen will join force with the Racers Edge Motorsport, a 2-time IMSA champion. So really important female driver teaming up with Ashton Harrison and Mario Farnbacher as they will try to win the Pro-Am Championship.
Big weekend for them. Indianapolis, anytime you're racing there, that is always a huge deal. Very exciting. Want to briefly update W Series top 3 fastest in practice: Jamie Chadwick. Then we have Abby Pullen and Alice Powell. Top 3, of course, qualifying going to be later in the weekend. And a reminder, tomorrow, Grid Life pre-race, we will preview the W Series race, especially see who's going to be in a good position to win the race. And, of course, everyone's favorite game tomorrow, pick a winner. Now, Daniel, what are some of the other races you're going to be following this weekend?
Well, let's say that there are 3 big events that we'll be following really closely, because it's pretty interesting that 3 women or teams of women are in contention to win the title this weekend. So we will have Jamie Chadwick for W Series, as we mentioned. She has to outscore Abby Pulling, Bicekevister, and Alice Powell. If she finishes ahead of all these 3 drivers, she is mathematically champion for the 3rd time of the all-female series. So this is obviously one of the races that we'll be following. But also later today, we will have the season finale of the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, where we have also a female driver leading the standings. That is Taylor Hagler, another really good driver. She won this season last year, and she is on the hunt for her 2nd consecutive title in the touring car class. She started from P5, and she has 100-point advantage over the closest competitor. So it is looking good for Taylor Hagler. We will be really following closely the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, but also, as we mentioned, we have Iron Dames at Barcelona for the GT World Challenge Europe season finale. They also are 2nd in the championship, and they have 9 points to make up in order to win their title. Also, another important race is going to be the Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta, of course, with Catherine Legg being back behind the wheel of the Hardpoint Porsche, the number 99. She started the season in the GTD class, but then the team missed a couple of rounds. Now they're back for the final race of the season. We also have the IMSA Prototype Challenge. The race is underway right now, and we have 2 female drivers there. One is Courtney Crone, and the other is Hannah Zellers. They are respectively P7 and P10 in the championship standings before this race. But also we have just later on, after the Prototype Challenge race, we will have the final race of the season of the extremely spectacular Mazda MX-5 Championship. We have Laura Hayes racing there. She was P17 yesterday. She's starting from P22 today. It's her rookie season in one of the most competitive touring car championships. So I believe it was a good season for Laura. Last time out, she was P11. So closing in on her first top 10. Coming to Europe, we have the GTC Race Challenge in Hockenheim with Kerry Schreiner racing in a Mercedes AMG GT3 together with David Schumacher. So the DTM driver is partnering with Kerry Schreiner for this final race in GTC. And they are also racing in a car with a steer-by-wire system. So it is a pioneering system by Scheffler. The steering wheel is not a mechanical one, but it is an electronic one. So there's no mechanical connection between the steering wheel and the wheels. So this is kind of a pioneering system that they are testing in this race on their car, by the way. Then we also have also at Hockenheim. That's also a big story of the upcoming weekend. We have Amna Al-Kubaisi, the sister of Amda, that is returning to racing. She last raced in the Formula 3 Asia this winter, and she didn't have the budget to do the Formula Regional. She was supposed to do the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Then a sponsor, for a sponsor issue, she couldn't do the season. But now she's back, and for the first time, she's racing in a prototype. She will be racing for the first time in an LMP3 car by WS Racing in Hockenheim. The series is STT, is a German series, but which is not a very big series, but it's important for Amna to to have some mileage and to learn a bit more of the car. So this is also quite interesting. We will report from this race later this week. Then we have Formula 4 Japan at Autopolis with Ryo Shimono, who is a driver that last year she was doing a TCR. So she went from touring cars to Formula 4, which is quite uncommon for drivers, especially in Europe. But she's doing the other way around, and hopefully she will get a good some good results in Formula 4. And then we have a big weekend in NASCAR because, of course, the NASCAR is racing at Talladega. We have the track series with 3 female drivers. We have obviously Hailey Deegan, but also Jennifer Jacob is returning to the series, and Natalie Decker, who also had some races in the Xfinity series this year. She is back in track for this one race in the number 43 Toyota. Then we have Harka Menard with Tony Breidinger and Amber Balken, and also Arca West for the penultimate race of the season with Bridget Burgess, who is returning to the track after the very positive race at Portland, where she was in contention for top 5 for most of the race, but she couldn't really. That effort was ultimately unrewarded for some mechanical issues, and you guys have brilliantly covered that series. And then that's pretty much it from next week, and a lot of important stories, and we will definitely report them next week.
And of course, you get all the stories on visiting the website racersbehindthehelmet.com. Check out the calendar page, follow each event live, and see which drivers are racing throughout the race weekend. And of course, on the homepage, all the recaps and latest news from around motorsports, covering all the female racers, women in motorsports. And of course, definitely want to give a big thank you to all our Patreon subscribers for subscribing and keeping us on the air, calling the show Mark and Robert. You too can get your name displayed right here on the air by clicking the link below to our Patreon page. And of course, we encourage everyone to follow us, Grid Network, right here. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even LinkedIn. If you're looking for experience on the air journalism, check out our LinkedIn page for opportunities, and visit public.com, stock market homepage for everyone that wants to get invested in the stock market. Use the referral code GRIDnet, gets $5 in free stock. Start building your portfolio up using money first from Public, and then as you use our tools to learn about investing, expand your portfolio, public.com. Once again, the referral code GRIDnet. And of course, we encourage everyone to be sure to visit the website Racers Behind the Helmet and follow them on social media as well throughout this race weekend. We'll be on the air Saturday to preview the W Series race, And of course, we'll recap it on Sunday's Grid Life wrap up. For Daniel's area Racers, the girls behind the helmet, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for watching today's program. We'll see you next time and enjoy the races. Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities such as new companies and potential business partners and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest. Start investing and networking on public.com.